Hello traders and welcome to the weekly outlook and setups volume 107. It's Iliya here, and as always I'm super happy to have you on my channel. And as you probably know, in this video we're gonna have a look at the market, how it developed this week, what opportunities did we have, and what we can potentially expect for the upcoming one. So this week we had some amazing moves across all currency pairs. The DXY moved, the Euro moved, the GBP moved, and the JPYs also had some amazing moves. So I really hope you managed to capitalize and catch some of those moves. I definitely had a very nice week. I'm gonna share all of my trades specifically on EURUSD as well. I do plan to make a separate video every single week, for example either on Thursday and Friday, to actually break down all of my trades, to show you my performance and how I trade in one specific video. Because if I do this on the weekly outlook and setups, it becomes a little bit too much and a little bit too long. So give me some feedback. Would you like to see me to kind of make a new, as I do this weekly outlook and setups on Saturday, would you like me to post all of my trades on Thursday or Friday? Let me know down in the comments. I will be really happy to make this another habit of mine. So if you're new to this channel though, it's all about trading. I share this weekly outlook and setups every Saturday, and once per week I give my best to share an educational piece of content or a trade setups breakdown video. So make sure you are subscribed, hit the notification bell in order not to miss anything that I publish. And before we start, I want to say that I've been trading some cryptos, and I do it with Forex.com. Not only that, it's an amazing broker with low spreads, but it has no commission account, but I chose the eco account. So every single lot traded goes towards planting trees. So I think that is an amazing initiative, and I think we should definitely support it. So make sure to check them out. Link will be down in the description. And if you already did, let's not waste any time, but let's just jump straight into the analysis. Alright, as always, let's start with the DXY to have a look how the dollar performed this week and where it can potentially go for the upcoming one. So in terms of the weekly time frame, we're having a nice bearish sentiment candle. So if I just again give a little breakdown of the structure, we created this nice lower low right there. The market pulled back, perfect lower high. But what we should expect after a lower high is the market to make a new low, okay? But we came inside right there, we rejected for a couple of weeks, and then we had some massive buying pressure to the upside. So for me, this immediately indicates some sort of a shift, okay? And definitely I would expect the market to pop to the upside on the dollar. But since 3 weeks, we have been chopping around this level, okay? And if I start dropping right now on the daily, you're gonna see a massive pump into the highs, and the market hasn't created any pullback to the downside. So can this right now be a push, slowdown, maybe pullback, and then a continuation? Definitely something that I would love to see. Because then dropping on the daily, again, as you can see, we had this massive pump right there. So we had this very little pullback, then we had another pump that created a higher high, perfect. And then actually this week we opened right here, 5th of July, we had a ranging day, then we created the low of the week right there. We had a massive pump into the highs. That did not actually create a daily higher high, okay? It just actually filled this little imbalance left right there. So the liquidity is being filled right there. So actually right now I think we're going to initiate that pullback and come all the way down, maybe to 91 at least, okay? But yes, again, as you see, we have Tuesday bullish, Wednesday bullish, then Thursday actually flipped the board to the downside, and then on Friday we had a nice pullback around 50% of this engulfing candle, and we continued to trade to the downside. As you can see on the 4-hourly time frame, where did the market open? Somewhere right here. We had this sort of consolidation, and I was looking at this little range right there on the DXY that was perfectly tapped. I hope I shared this on my previous weekly outlook. Make sure to do so to keep me accountable. But yes, we nicely tapped inside this area, and then we nicely impulsed to the upside. Still, the market was finding some resistance from here because we were then stuck in this range, but it just provided us a little pullback, and then we massively spiked into the highs, actually filling that gap. And then what we did is, again, that was a little bit tricky to judge, because on the 4-hourly time frame, yes, if we look at this whole bullish move to the upside, cool. This is our high, this is our low, this is our high. But what the market did, as I told you, pushed, little pullback, higher low, higher high, and then we actually broke below the structure with massive selling pressure, okay? So I was immediately starting to change myself towards actually taking shorts. And as you can see, we reacted from here, from this big sell right there to a big buy. We reacted, we gave the pullback on Friday, and then we just melted end of the day. And the EU also provided a massive long setup. So currently, what is the current situation of the DXY? If I delete everything like this, well, I would say that this right now is my lower high. It's the most recent one. We created the pullback, of course. I would say that this is my major high right there, but this is where this is the level that I would potentially be interested to sell, okay? Keep in mind that we're still tapping into a very strong demand right here. So make sure to mark those levels. I'm not going to do that. This is our demand. This is our middle kind of supply and structural point. So right now I am interested to see how the market is going to behave around this area. As for the beginning of the week, I will be really happy to see a reaction from here, the market to initiate a pullback, to create the high of the week, which would be a lower high, and then to potentially have a bearish week on the dollar. So as you can see, very simple analysis, and I would love to see the market create that big weekly pullback and potentially have some nice sells on the dollar. Of course, it depends on the fundamentals as well, if the dollar is really gonna weaken. But in terms of technicals, right now we're having this kind of complex correction. If we take the daily, yes, it's a push and a pullback, but have a look at the momentum to the downside as well. So definitely, guys, Monday is really important. Make sure to mark your 4-hourly low like this. And if this 4-hourly low is broken, then definitely I'm shifting shorts, okay? But if we first have the little pullback, I'm gonna be looking for another lower high to potentially take the market down as well. So make sure to let Monday play out and then see where it's gonna take us. Let's have a look at EU. So in terms of weekly time frame, we're having an overall bullish candle. So it's perfectly opposite to the DXY, to be honest. So if we expect on the DXY the market to continue that trend to the downside, then we should expect upside on EU. However, I'm slightly hesitant on this one, and I'm gonna tell you why. So we had here a nice high, cool. The market pulls back, higher low, beautiful. We take longs from here. The market then starts to impulse to the upside, but it actually fails to make a new high. Okay, so this for me right now looks more like a shift to the downside, and this more looks like a lower high for potentially the market to continue lower and to break this low. Okay, but if this happens, then the DXY will not go down, it will go up, which is something that I just mentioned that I do not expect too much. So slightly tricky situation. Dropping to the daily time frame again. So this week I actually called this level. This was the targets for this week, so perfectly achieved. And on the daily time frame, Monday was overall choppy. Then Tuesday created a beautiful high of the week. So I was a bit unprepared for that. So I didn't take the shorts. I actually took a loss. I'm going to show you all of my trades in a bit. Then we continue to trade to the downside. Beautiful little pullback on Wednesday. Another pump to the downside, fulfilling the targets. And then we had Thursday and Friday bullish. Okay. So right now the question is, are we gonna initiate a bigger pullback? Because as you can see right here, we had a massive pump. Cool. Lower low, lower high, lower low, lower high right there, lower low again. So basically our daily high right now technically is this one. So if I just trigger like this daily high, this is where we should be looking for a break above. And if this one breaks above, then potentially we can come and retest all of those levels up. But of course, I will be always prepared for the market to create a lower high and then just to continue pumping down and break those weekly lows. Okay. So let me show you all of my trades. Again, I would really love to make a separate video on that, but just bear with me. I also break down all of my trades in great detail, the way we trade in my private community. So make sure that you consider this if you, of course, like the way I trade. So this is Monday. So what I was expecting on Monday is potential buys towards the upside, towards creating that weekly high. Okay, so let me show you what I did. So immediately at the market open, I started trading. I was actually looking for the market to come and retest some of those levels, potentially to get a little bit lower, because I had some sort of a fib. I'm not sure exactly from where, but I was looking for the market to pull back a little bit deeper. But this was actually the pullback that we had. But at the opening, I spotted here is our Asian range. I spotted this level. I have a very specific way to identifying those levels. And basically there is my first trade for the week. So I'm going to share my MT4 stats as well. So as I was seeing the market turn a little bit bullish from the downside, but then we strongly impulse. So I took an aggressive entry from here, 3 pip stop loss. So how I managed this trade is I was aware that potentially the market could go up. So I took 50% of my position right there. So basically this gave me, I don't know. Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm not going to calculate right now. But yes, then we had a beautiful reaction, but then the market actually broke structure to the downside and I was happy. So I did not close the remaining of my position and I just let it run to the downside towards that level that I told you. But then of course, what I observed is that the market created a low, lower high, beautiful. Then we tried to push down, we failed to make a new lower low. And then as the market started to impulse to the upside, I knew that this trade is going to be a break even. So the remaining of my position was closed at break even. So of course, immediately I adjust. Okay, cool. The market did not pull back to the downside. So right now I start looking for the longs. Okay. So then I see all of this development right here. potential little longs right here along the way, but what I did is, so I was seeing the market shift from the upside, but I did not take those shorts because I considered them to be slightly aggressive. But then I spotted this little level right there, so I plotted a long position right here, but I got missed. So it just tapped right here at the top, but the stop loss would have been, the stop loss would have been fine, but I just wasn't happy. I wanted the 2 pip stop on this one. Sometimes I also get a little bit greedy, guys. So yes, this one missed me. And then I said to myself, cool. I think this should be actually the high of the day, and then I'm gonna start taking a short. So I considered again this to be my lower high. So I took a short from exactly right there. I'm gonna share my stats as well. I didn't like the reaction. So what I did is, as the market strongly impulsed to the upside, when it usually does this, because usually my entries are always snipers, and it's either just gonna explode or either just gonna hit stop loss, okay? So as I had this massive pump into the upside, I closed 50% of my position somewhere inside in the middle. And then as the market pushed to the downside, I closed at break even right here. So do I regret it? No, because actually I have to check where exactly my stop loss was. I think it was above this high, but it really depends how much above, because there is that ugly wick right there that could have stopped me out for a full loss. And then basically we had the move that I expected. Okay, so that was a slightly tricky trade, the mistrade right there. So not entirely happy, but cool. I'm still in profit for the day. And then of course, remember this shift that I told you right here. This for me is a beautiful level to take along. So there is my third trade. For the day, we have a nice consolidation right there pre-New York, then we have a massive pump to the upside, and I execute my trade from here. I'm gonna share my stats as well. And yes, then we simply start changing the structure. Nice push to the upside, break, higher low, beautiful higher high. So I was still expecting the shorts. So what I did is I took 30% out of my position right here. And again, you can see immediately the reaction. So I was expecting this reaction, but for me, it was important to see if the market was actually going to create a higher low, but I was slightly hesitant to take a scale in. Okay, then very nice to see the market starting to pump up. Then we started kind of chopping around and the day was getting at its end. So basically I said to myself, if this makes a high right there, I'm gonna take a big majority of my position, which is like 70%. And then I took all 70% of my position right here, and then I went out for a run, and then as I got home the market was chopping around right there, so I took the remaining of my position right here. So this is basically Monday, up and down, up and down, up and down, pretty ranging day, but very happy with the results. Let's go on to Tuesday, which created actually that beautiful weekly high, but of course your guy was a little bit unprepared. So again, as you can see, like there is our Monday ranging markets, and then all of a sudden we started massively pumping into the highs. Okay, and then as you can see, all of a sudden we massively pumped into the lows. In terms of 15-minute time frame, there is our Asian session, which was extremely trending. Okay, so have a look at the Asian session, created a low, and then we massively started impulsing to the upside. So I was at my charts around this area right here, 715. So I was looking for the longs. I was looking for the market to pull back somewhere inside those levels to take a long, but it didn't. Okay, so basically what I did is I had my long areas right there. I had two long areas. Again, I break down all of my trades and all of my levels in details in our weekly webinars that we do in the community. But yes, basically there was one right here and one right there. But then the market created this high. Okay, I wanted to take a short, but for me this was not clear price action right here. So I kind of said, okay, I'm gonna skip it, and then the market just slowly started to roll down. There were some opportunities right here that I of course explained, but of course my trade was right here. So I was seeing that the market was changing to the downside, but I just wanted to take a little trade, and I was planning to take a short from this level. But as you can see, there is my trade. I'm gonna share the stats. Just whacked myself right there. It just tapped me out, and then it just continued to melt to the downside. So yeah, this is basically Tuesday. I'm super pissed of missing on that move to the downside, but guess what? I'm chilled. And then of course the market continues to move to the downside, creation of lower lows, lower highs, a bit of a consolidation right there. Then we have this massive impulse to the downside that of course left a very nice demand level. There is a beautiful short trade that could have taken, but I missed this one. 415, I wasn't at the charts, I was doing something else at that time. So kind of pissed that I missed this short as well, because that was a beautiful shorting day, but an overall losing day for me, but still was in profit for the week. So that is basically Tuesday. And right now let's jump on to Wednesday. So Wednesday was the worst day for me. Well, not in terms of losses. I had a break even, but let me explain what I expected right here. So again, massive pump to the downside. So what I wanted to see, because usually what EU will do is it will pull back to 50%. So I had this big range right there, and my targets were the 50% of that range, basically right here. So I am looking for the longs. Let's give a little bit of context maybe on the 5-minute. Let me put the replay tool on. And yeah, so basically the shorts were taken right there. I'm not going to go into detail to explain absolutely everything what happens, because there is a lot of sense behind what the market is doing. So if you really understand what is happening, then you're definitely going to catch some amazing trades. So little mistake that I did. So market opens right there. There is our Asian range. We had a manipulation above the Asian range, and then the market starts to shift the structure to the downside. Okay. And then what I do is I identify this to be my lower high. So I execute a trade from right here. Gonna share my stats. It pushed to the downside. I think I managed it very aggressively. So I came out with a very small loss on this one. But yes, it hits at the end, I think, stop loss. And then of course I failed to execute from the actual level that I should have executed on. Okay. So I missed this short. Then the market again broke structure. So again, I didn't consider to take another short from here. Cool. Took this loss, slightly regretting not taking those shorts as well. But then the market again falls into some of my levels right there on the left, and I am taking a long right there. Very nice sniper. And yes, the market continues to push higher. I am still kind of 50-50 in that trade, because this is a massive pump to the downside, and this could have been a lower high for the market to continue lower. The market came inside and I was slightly skeptical, started doubting a little bit, but I was like, cool, just accept the loss, just trust in my level. And then I had this massive pump into the upside. Very nice. The mistake right here was I didn't take any partials. I kind of got married to that idea that the market is going to come all the way up right there. So then I was seeing the market create this supportive level, and I'm like, cool, this is going to get taken out. Then I was seeing the market come multiple times towards my break even here, but then I spotted, I had a little nap right there. Then I see this little higher low push, and then I get into the charts and the market is right here. And I'm like, oh man, I want to take a long here, but it was already up. So I missed this little long. And then yes, I failed to take partials right here. I fail. And then again, make sure to watch my supply and demand video. This was a textbook setup right there. Range, massive manipulation down, break of structure for a short. And then we just started rolling to the downside. So what I did is I knew that the market is going to reverse. So what I did is I wanted to take a short from this level, and I set my TP on this trade right here. But as you can see, the market just stopped and it just melted and stopped me out at break even. So guys, this was a trade that I held for 5 hours, 6 hours. I usually don't do this, but this is 6 hours and I wasn't paid for my time. So I was quite disappointed, and again another little losing day from this one, and Tuesday was also losing, so I was getting a little bit disappointed. Okay, so basically this was Wednesday, then dropping onto Thursday. Wow, this video is getting long, but I really hope you guys enjoyed it, and I'm definitely gonna break all of this down in a separate video every single week. So Thursday, massive long day. Okay, but how look where I took my profits. What a bastard. I could have ridden this all the way to the upside, but of course I stick to my plan. The market is bearish. So again, what my idea was is to have at least 50% of this move. So this is where I took the majority of my profits and a little bit more. But I wasn't expecting that massive pump to the upside, but it made sense because that was Thursday. The market had trended down for quite some time. Okay, we had massive Tuesday, we had massive Wednesday. So Thursday actually made sense to initiate the pullback. Okay, so I could have left a little runner, but let me show you my trades. The Asian session started with a massive sell-off that failed to make a lower low. So that was first signal for me that we're failing to continue lower. Then we have a nice expansion to the upside that actually breaks structure. So let me show you what I did right here. I took an early loss on this one. Again, extremely transparent. So again, for me, the higher low was this one. We had a massive initiation outside, liquidity generated, tap inside, took the trade from here. I'm gonna share the stats. Quick stop loss. But still, I believe in my analysis and I try to see where is the next area for an entry. But then right here for me, this was just a liquidity grab. We massively pumped into the upside, broke structure. Then as we started to pull back to the downside, I executed from right here. So I'm going to share my second entry as well. And then we slowly start to kind of break structure and initiate to the upside. So my management on this one was very rushed because I had a losing Tuesday, remember that stupid loss. Then I had Wednesday, which was quite emotional. I was quite disappointed in the evening that I did not take any partials because it was amazing profit. I think it was around 8% that I was staying on that long trade. So what I simply did is I took a majority of partials right there, and then as I was seeing the market pump up, I just took a 1 to 8. Okay, so I closed my position, everything was brought back, and I was again sitting at, yeah, I was always at profit since Monday, but this one took me very nicely ahead. And yeah, then look at that, guys. So that was like, I wouldn't have ridden it all the way up, but potentially a 1 to 30 trade. So then what I do, of course, the market continues to pump to the upside, and I'm like, okay, I have some risk to play with. So I spot that the market is starting to shift from the top right there. We had this high, a break of structure, pullback, lower high, lower low, beautiful. So I was thinking to actually take another long from here, which is a mistake that I didn't do, and then to potentially hedge it with a short. Okay, but I took only the short, perceiving this to be a lower high, so I took a short from here and of course quickly lost it. I'm gonna share the stats as well, but still in profit for the day, and this is how I wrapped up my Thursday. And then of course let's jump quickly onto Friday because it's getting a little bit too long. Yes, so what I did on Friday again is I was looking for the market to pull back a little bit deeper towards those levels right there. So I took my first short from here. The market pushed down, lower high, lower low, lower low, lower high, took it from here, had a little profit right there, and I did not secure break even, so I took, yeah, I think I took 0.5% loss somewhere right there or something like this. I'm not entirely sure, but yes, this was a losing trade. So then a little mistake, which I got a little bit emotional about. I was too fixated on that shorts. I thought the market is gonna pull back a little bit lower, failing to acknowledge that we're starting to shift up. And I was planning to hedge. Okay, so I had this level right here. So I had an order right there that kind of didn't trigger. I think again went a little bit too aggressively on this one. So I didn't trigger in this long, and I was getting slightly emotional. So what I did is I took a hedge. I took a short from right here. It ended up playing out, and I was like, cool, if the market taps me inside here, I'm gonna take a long and go break even on the short. But then failing to recognize that we already had a higher low, the market just tested the higher low and it exploded. So I took a loss right there. So basically little loss right there, little loss right there, and I missed out on that beautiful long trade. But really hope that some of you guys caught this one, because that was a massive, massive, massive move. Okay, so this is my week on EU, guys. I'm sorry for ramping so much, but I really hope you got some value. And definitely after this video, I'm gonna do a separate video on this one as well, because it took me 16 minutes to make. Okay, so I'm already unfocused to see where potentially the market could go, but just a little full hourly analysis, I would definitely think that this high is gonna get taken out because we're simply starting to shift structure. So make sure to stay tuned for my Tuesday analysis as well, because I'm gonna break it down again, but potentially I would expect a higher high. So definitely very similar to the DXY, I'm gonna be waiting for the market to come inside right here to change the structure, and then to potentially see if we can catch any longs. It definitely makes sense for the market to pull back right here. So let's see if we're gonna have another very nice bullish week on EU. Let's have a quick look at EJ, which had a massive sell-off week, and this is due to the USD JPY, because UJ massively flushed to the downside as well. So right now my question is, are we gonna continue rolling to the downside, because we're still kind of testing this weekly supportive level. Dropping onto the daily time frame, it is entirely bearish. Right now we also closed below this low, so definitely I will be looking for the shorts, which does not too much correspond to EU, but of course in terms of daily time frame, this is our daily high right here, and this is our daily low, and currently we are already on the pullback. So as the market comes inside some of this whole range right here, which is simply again above the 50%, then I'm gonna start positioning myself for taking shorts. Okay, but right now we have something kind of a lower low. The market created a weekly low on Thursday, and then Friday is actually giving us the pullback. So my analysis on EJ is simple. I am not going to be looking for anything, maybe some longs. If the market pulls back right here, if it really shows me a higher low, change structure, pulls back, then I'm going to be looking for the market to get inside this level, from where it is a totally different story to see how the market is going to develop. But I'm more analyzing this from a swing perspective, because it definitely looks like sells. But first of all, as I said, I need to see the market come inside that level. If you, of course, want to really refine, you can catch this level right there, because this is where the real move to the downside started, and this is basically another major lower high. Okay, so my outlook on EJ will be a potential downside at weekly open, then potentially upside on Tuesday, breaking structure Wednesday and Thursday bullish, and then potentially coming from here we can sell off. But of course anything can happen. We can of course start pumping immediately to the upside and then have a massive sell off. So let's see, but this is how I'm looking at this market, and eventually I see it as perfectly bearish. The structure is overall bearish, so I will be focused on sells, but sells only as the market gets inside this area. So let's see how EJ will perform. Let's have a look at the Aussies. We had some massive selling off on the Aussies, which was really nice. And I totally think that we are potentially going to drop further into this whole range right there. Because again, remember, since we pumped to the upside, the market is actually tapping inside the 50%. But of course, I still see a little bit of a downside, but we never know. Like this week, look at the 6th of July, we had this massive pump into the highs. And I do believe that I called this level right here, because this is the daily lower high, lower low, the market perfectly retested, and then we just sold off massively. Okay, and if you have a look again, it looks a little bit like EU, same price action. Like we started a little bit bullish, and then all of a sudden we sharply start pumping to the upside, and then all of a sudden, boom, massive pump to the downside. So basically potential shorts from here is what we could have taken, and then potentially shorts from here as well, because this is a clear lower high. Then we dropped to the downside, created a low, and right now we are in a pullback stage. So basically, where is our lower high right now? It's this one, if we take it like this. So as long as the market remains below this lower high, I will be interested in selling. Okay, what we could also have is the market tapping inside, then pushing to the downside. And again, remember, you must know market structure, because again, if the market fails to make a new low and responds to this little zone right there, then potentially you should immediately be looking for longs. Okay, and this is how you just shift, this is how you flow with the market. But I do not expect the market to reach this level for sell off, because this is currently the lower high. And of course, your task right now, guys, is to go on the lower time frames and see how you could have gotten into those trades, because there are setups. I think my community also was trading this one, and there was definitely beautiful setups, beautiful shorts to be taken. But in terms of my outlook, this is how I would play Aussie dollar. I have my demand, I have my supply. So the market is currently traveling towards supply. So I am more inclined towards shorts. So as we come inside, I'm going to be monitoring for any shifts, and then I'm going to be taking profits right here if this is the scenario. But of course, anything can happen. But a very simple analysis, overall bearish trend. Keep in mind that we can make maybe a slightly bigger pullback, because again, you can see we had a massive pump down. This is a pullback, but if you drop the FIB from the high to the low, this one just almost reached 50%. So basically right now we're starting to, this is also not a good sign that we start to kind of chop around, because you can see how clear this move is. This is a clear move, but then it started to get smaller and smaller and smaller, and then this can potentially mean that we might create this sort of flag or channel, and then potentially to impulse to the upside. But of course, we are prepared for everything. So those are my levels. I'm going to be looking to sell from here or buy from there, depending of course on the behavior and the way price action forms. And then AJ, wow, I still have my analysis. Let's see what I expected. Cool, I expected the market to come inside right here. Wow, totally worse. Cool. Let's delete it so you don't see, guys, my wrong analysis. So yes, overall bearish move to the downside right here. Nothing much to extract. Daily time frame, absolutely bearish. Same scenario right here. We tapped inside this level. I'm not sure why I was expecting continuations up after this massive pump down, lower low, lower high. It was kind of in the middle, so the market just needed that little liquidity grab in order to continue pumping to the downside. But right now, this is a lower low, so we have to identify where potentially we can take shorts. And very similarly to AU, we have again two levels. Like one of the levels is the major one right here, but then the most immediate one is this whole zone. Okay, so basically I would really love to see the market first initiate to the downside, create some sort of consolidation, then to potentially impulse to the upside, change structure, and then to potentially have a move down. So this is how I would love to play AJ. Okay, don't expect the market to pump in on Monday into that level, because this is not good news. I would love to see it on Tuesday. Like Monday, I would love to see the market play a little bit like we did right here, like just play a little bit, and then we have Tuesday massive pump and then a massive sell-off. So if I see a similar formation this week like this, definitely shorts. So this is my outlook on the Aussies. Looking more for the short side, but of course, if it pulls back to the downside, I can also take longs. So let's see how it's going to develop. The NZDs pretty much positively around 80% correlated to the Aussies. The same thing, we have kind of an upside and we have a downside, and right now we close in the middle. So this is more like a consolidation week. So definitely I would expect next week to go somewhere, okay? Longer term, I would expect shorts because especially on NU, we have broken this weekly low, which is a great sign. So right now, the question is, are we gonna pull back a little bit towards the upside to create a weekly lower high and then to melt to the downside? So this is the current question, okay? So basically the market can pull back somewhere towards that level. But as you can see, what we did is we had a pump to the downside, pull back, lower high, beautiful, push down, failure to make a new low. So we just needed that little liquidity grab because you can see this is our zone. And again, I might make a little video on the difference between the liquidity grab and a break, because this is simply a liquidity grab, but we never know if it is until the market continues to move to the downside, okay? So right here, what simply happened is the market faked above. Again, have a look, same day, kind of Monday, chopping around, massive push on Tuesday, and then a massive breakdown to the downside. So I was actually calling the shorts. After this, we had a beautiful pullback and a beautiful short right here. Again, you can see how many wicks, and if you see wicks on the 4-hourly time frame, that means that there are retests on the lower time frame. So your homework is to go and examine how you could have entered a short right here. But then again, the market also broke structure to the downside. So very similar to AU and all the other pairs. Like, yeah, this is a very big wick, so I'm not sure how to draw my zone. Like, this looks a little bit too big, but this is it actually, okay? Make sure to also drop your fib. The market is just pulling back around the fibs. You can of course use the normal fib like this. So basically I will be looking for somewhere around right here to take a sell on NU. But of course I would as well first appreciate that the market maybe pulls back so I can take a long towards that same area, then a nice pump into the highs, and then to potentially take the short, okay? And of course targeting these lows right there, which we kind of didn't break, which is really good because the market is just gonna smash them if we continue trading lower. But yes, this is my simple outlook on NU. Looking for shorts potentially on Tuesday or Wednesday, and then an overall downtrend. Looking at NJ, exactly the same. What is this line? Is this my analysis? Probably. So we had the same, like the market massively faked above. Then we had a break to the downside. Again, break of structure, beautiful pullback, and a beautiful short, okay? And right now we're massively impulsing to the downside, and even we kind of broke below the zone. We haven't closed with a body close, but we just broke below it. And there is a little level that the market is currently responding to. It's this major daily zone. Like we had a massive sell-off, and since this massive sell-off, we had a massive buy, okay? So this is a very sensitive area right there. But of course, I am bearish on it. This is just a reaction point for the market to pull back. We have a beautifully created lower high right here. Of course, we always drop our fib and we expect somewhere around here the long. So again, same expectations. I would wait for the market to kind of chop around on Monday, then I would look for a nice uptrend on Tuesday to create that weekly high, and then to potentially the shift and potentially target a new weekly low. So potentially, yes, the weekly candle, again, we can open right here. The weekly candle opens right here, creates a wick up, and then we immediately start moving to the downside. Something like this, guys. We open right here, create a wick up, and then we melt to the downside. So let's see if we're gonna have a bearish week on the NZDs, which means bullish on the DXY, which we don't expect too much. So yeah, there is slightly bit confusion, but of course, only the market will show us where we are gonna go. But shorts. Let's have a look at UJ, a very massive sell-off this week. After creating this big high right there, we just sold off this week very nicely. So the question is, are we going to continue selling off? Currently, daily structure is broken, which is really good because if you just follow the structure, higher low, higher low, higher low right there, higher low there, higher low there, higher high, beautiful. So the market should have respected right there and continued to push up. But right now, this trend line is invalidated and potentially we can expect shorts. So let's see. Still slightly hesitant because there are a lot of supportive levels right there, and as you can see, the market is currently responding to one of them, but we have a daily break of structure, so definitely start to incline more towards taking shorts. And as you can see, like we created this big high, and then this market actually opened somewhere right here. Yes, and we immediately continue to go down. And as soon as I saw that the market is failing to hold at this level, I knew that this will potentially go short. So we had this little pullback, creation of a lower high right there, and then we sold off massively, and we also broke the structure on the left. So for me, UJ is very bearish, which kind of doesn't correspond too much on the DXY. I'm not sure if I'm really, yeah, DXY is short, so definitely I'm looking for shorts on the DXY, which means definitely longs on EU. So it's starting to make sense. So potentially we can have short DXY and of course long EU. So UJ, again, very similar to all of the other pairs. Find out where is your lower high, which is exactly right there. And what I'm looking again is for the market to continue that little pullback, to tap inside right there, to show me the reversal signs, and then potentially I'm going to be looking for the shorts. In terms of hourly time frame, yes, you can see that we were pretty chopping around right there. What we had is the market manipulating to the downside, then breaking structure on the hourly. So I believe that there were lots of people taking longs from here, which is absolutely correct, okay? Because you can see actually kind of the market created all of this madness. Then we tapped inside very nicely. We gave the reaction, but the market never changed structure. It just created a lower high and it would just melt it. Wow, guys, let me know if somebody caught that move on UJ down. I love such moves, and I'm super pissed that I missed the EU move and some of those massive impulsive moves to the downside. But yes, this is my analysis, guys. Kind of the last higher low, even on the hourly, is somewhere right here. But of course, always make sure to drop your FIP. Make sure to trade above the 50%, which we currently already are. And yes, potentially I'm going to be looking how the market is going to behave, how it's going to form. And potentially, yes, try to catch the lower high and then see if we're going to continue impulsing to the downside and maybe start creating a nice bearish trend, because on the daily, we've been in an uptrend since December. Right now, it's half year. We're already July. So UJ, it's time that you drop to the downside a little bit. So let's see. Let's have a look at the GBPs. Starting from GU, I think we are about to embark on a bullish journey on GU, because yes, we have a higher low right there on the weekly, higher high, beautiful. The market pulls back, consolidates for 3 weeks, accumulates, wick to the downside, and right now we are actually closing very strongly above the body of the previous week. So this is a pretty bullish signal to me, but yeah, basically this happened on Friday. So a whole week of choppiness right there, a couple of shorts. There is our weekly high on Tuesday again. The market drops lower, creates the low, and then right now we are impulsing to the upside. But yes, I am bullish. I am bullish after this development on GU. I am definitely bullish. So the trades that you could have taken, of course, I do believe that I shared this level with you on the previous weekly outlook, and of course we have this demand. So that was the range that the market was playing inside, but it was pretty messy. So again, there is the high. You could have taken shorts from here, then the market breaks structure, pulls back, shorts from right here as well. Then we have another sell-off. Then you have your Asian range again, manipulating down, manipulating up. Another short from right here. Like, of course, there are always trades to be taken on GU. Very volatile pair. Then we drop to the downside, create the low. And then again, I think on Thursday, it was a very tricky day. Like, we had this manipulation down, chop. And then on Friday, we started to impulse to the upside. So definitely go and examine. I do believe like potential longs right here on Monday. Then the high was created, then push down, pull back. There is a short, then another push. Potentially longs from here and then shorts from here. So this is what you could examine, but I did not take any trades on GU this week. So in terms of right now, is this a break? Oh, it's not a break. Well, I would count it as a break. So right now, yes, we are massively impulsing into the upside. So I would be waiting for a pullback. So which means that we can be looking for shorts. Where from? Well, my next level will be this one. So the question is, are we gonna first reach out for that level and then to start creating a downtrend, or are we first gonna initiate going down? Okay, so very tricky with all of that big push to the upside. But if I am to take any longs, I would wait for the market to first form the high, okay, and then to potentially start trading towards the downside. And as it starts trading towards the downside, I'm gonna start taking shorts once I see the clear shift of momentum, and then potentially from somewhere right here, I am gonna start looking for the longs. But for me right now, the levels are not entirely clear. I would expect the market to form a high somewhere and then to start initiate the pullback. But this can of course also happen on Monday. We can just start to initiate to the downside. So for GU right now, guys, it's very important to give it some time, because after this massive pump to the upside, we are in a push phase. And when you're in a push phase, you don't trade. You have to wait for the pullback, and then you have to go. Well, you can't trade. You can trade the pullback itself, but this is risky, and you definitely need to see the market first start that initial shift. So GU, let's see let's see. I will be looking for the longs, the market to pull back. Our new higher low is this one right here, this kind of whole range. So as long as the market pulls back towards the downside and remains above this low, I am gonna be looking for the buys. But let's see how it's gonna play out, and make sure to stay tuned for my Tuesday analysis. So GJ, very nice as well. This level, I called this level multiple times, but we tapped it even previous week. Then we Monday chopping around, then Tuesday massive impulse into the highs, and then boom, big breakdown to the downside. Then we went to retest that wick almost, so that was a potential short opportunity, and then we just melted to the downside with the melt of UJ as well. So GJ right now, it looks like shorts, but seeing how GU is pumping up, I don't know. I'm not a master of GJ at all. I don't trade this pair. I trade only GU. But yes, currently it is about to tap into the lower high. But just seeing how it comes inside, it just makes me think that it's not gonna hold. So actually my next level for potential resistance is this one. Is this whole kind of a major lower high that the market initiated outside. Pull back, we initiate again. So what I would love to see is, again, buyers. I would love to follow that momentum to the upside, but still the trend is down. So make sure that make sure to keep that in your mind. But if the market opens with a downtrend, I'm going to be looking for the longs, potentially to take it from here, and then from there I cannot forecast. It's not about forecasting, it's about reacting, okay? So yes, let's see. I have actually no expectations on GJ. If it reacts from here and if it really starts to change structure, I would be looking for shorts. But just looking at the impulsive nature of this structure, it's very hard to find an area to break. Okay, like basically our higher low is this one. So if I'm to take any shorts, I would love to see the market break this low. But if it breaks this low, it has already pulled back towards the 50%. So it will be time to take longs. Okay, so for GJ and also GU, it will be really important to give the market some time on Monday to see how it's going to play out, and then to potentially judge where it could go. But those are my levels, so let's see how it's going to respond. GA, I don't trade this one, and to be extremely honest, I don't understand this one. So we opened up with a little range, we chopped to the down, we broke this to the downside, which is a liquidity grab, continue to the upside, break of structure, so there is your higher low potentially to take a trade from. We continue to the upside, higher low, higher high, and right now we're just chopping into the upside right there. So for me, this one is a very nice level to potentially look for the longs, okay? Or of course, GA, I think GA always goes for the extremes. So if you have like two levels that you look to take a trade from, always take the lower or the higher one, okay? And basically, yes, currently this is our range. The market has already created a nice leg to the upside, which is potentially a daily move. So definitely, I would expect the market to pull back to some of those levels. Either this one, see the reaction before taking a long, or either this one, see the reaction before taking a long, because of course we can also reverse. But the GBPs overall look like longs. So let's see how this week is gonna open. And Euro GBP of course looks like shorts, but this one is just a complete mess. Like guys, this one is support and resistance. So how do you trade this one? I have no idea, and I'm not touching this one. But yes, big selling pressure. Like, I don't know, guys. Does any of you trade Euro GBP? I just don't understand this pair, and I've never understood this pair. I'm not sure if it's just me, but yeah. Currently, massively pumping into the lows, into the support. So if we see a break below this level, that would be really nice, because then I will be expecting the pullback and then a potential continuation down. I see a little lower high created right here, which is possibly well seen on the hourly, something like this. So after a confirmation of a lower low, then I will be looking for the market to pull back, which means that GU or the others can make a higher high. So then we can wait for the higher low and then to potentially to pump. Okay. So this is my outlook on the GBPs. Again, not entirely clear. They all need some time to potentially confirm, to potentially pull back, and then to potentially for us to look for some trading opportunities. So make sure you stay tuned for the Tuesday Telegram analysis. Let's have a little outlook on gold. So as you can see, this level is pretty nicely holding right there after this liquidity grab. We continue to push up, and we're overall having a bullish week. But as you can see how it's starting to chop around this level. What are those drawings right there? Oh yeah, so basically I did expect this withdrawal from this level, then the creation of a higher low, then a higher high, which is basically what happened. So pretty nice moves on gold this week, but still stuck in this overall range. Okay, so still I would expect the market to climb a little bit higher. Like we have other levels of interest. Like I would love to see how the market is going to respond from this one. after this one is already taken. But first the question is, are we gonna create a little pullback to the downside before continuing higher, or are we just gonna impulse up? Okay, in terms of a weekly and even daily time frame, if this is a massive move to the downside, I would expect the 50% to get tapped, and we're just at the 38.2. So I would definitely be seeking for the market to come inside some of those levels, which looks like a really nice shorting area. So yes, but my question is, how is the market gonna develop? Are we gonna first be provided a long like this, or are we just gonna continue to pump into the highs, into that level, and then to potentially shift from there and have maybe a sell-off? So let's see. I'm just looking more like a swing, from a swing perspective on gold, but definitely expecting this level to get tapped, and as it gets inside this level, then potentially I can shift my bias to short. So guys, let me know in the comments, where do you expect gold to go next? And wrapping up the video with a little outlook on the indices, another bullish week, and again, as expected, the levels were tapped. So again, we are just bouncing from daily levels to daily levels. Again, as you can see, actually the manipulation happened on Thursday. So again, as you can see, I broke this down to create a nice downtrend, which was exactly what happened. Maybe if I move it like this, it will be perfect, like this. And yes, we created a nice low, then we pulled back, created a lower high, and then the market sold off. Everybody's looking for the sells because again, it's a nice ABC to the downside. It looks like a lower low, but the market just slightly faked below this level, changed the structure potentially on the hourly time frame. There is your structure change on the hourly. Maybe even if you drop to the 15, it's going to be much cleaner. There is your shift of structure, and then we created a nice bump to the upside. So still my targets, of course, a new all-time high, and of course the next level after this one is tapped. Of course, you can see where all the orders were initiated. They were initiated from here. So potentially again, we can expect the market to do some funny stuff, to then tap inside and then to potentially impulse to the upside. So it happens every week, and I really hope some of you guys are trading those instruments. I am not at this moment. I do plan to maybe deposit a small, not a small, but just a separate account to trade those things. But again, NASDAQ as well. Continue to pump into the highs, but as it gets too high, it needs liquidity. So it manipulates to the downside where the buy orders are, and then we immediately start initiating into the highs. So next targets are, of course, new all-time highs. But yeah, I'm still waiting for that crash, but I think a crash is not coming soon because yep, nobody is speaking about the crash. Nobody is speaking how high the indices are. So yeah, definitely still buying. I haven't bought anything because all the stocks are actually pretty high. But let's see, NASDAQ maybe a high, then potentially a pullback, and then potentially let's see how it's gonna develop. But not having a clear outlook right now because we're still stuck inside this range. So I would appreciate if the market actually creates something right here, then pump outside, and then to potentially see something like this. And S&P, I was thinking to buy because yeah, it perfectly pulled back where I expected. But for me again, yeah, 1%, it just made a very little pullback on my equity. So it wasn't worth it for me. But yes, right now already making the high. So yeah, I'm just waiting, just keeping my cash and waiting for the crash. Keep the cash for the crash, right? So yeah, we manipulate to the downside, very similar to US30, and right now we're already at the highs. Okay, so basically I would expect some sort of price to happen, then again another push to the downside, and then to potentially impulse, because again our next level, I just keep moving those levels every single week, and every single week they just keep climbing. Okay, the next level is right there, so let's see how this is gonna develop. Right, so guys, I really hope you got value from this video. I really hope you're staying up until now. Thank you for doing so. Make sure to hit the like button if you enjoyed the video. Make sure to leave me some feedback if you would love me to go in depth into all of my trades that I take on a separate video, because this makes this weekly outlook and setups a little bit too long. So definitely I'm eager to do that. Let me know what kind of educational pieces of content do you want to see, what do you want me to post, give me some ideas. And yes, make sure to stay tuned for the Telegram analysis on Tuesday. I wish you a very relaxing weekend. Make sure to work on your charts, on your craft as well, and have a crushing week ahead of you.